All right, so yeah, we're doing something a little different. We got stats this week. We're me, well, Geo and our team has got together some stats, start values. So we're going to just go through the top five stats from each event from the teams that have competed this year. We've only compiled the stats of the team's highest start values from any particular competition. We did not mix and match, different lineups that teams had. So we've just taken the highest start values from any particular weekend, and we put them together and created a top five on each event. So let's get this ball rolling. Let's see what this looks like. All right, on floor exercise, we have Illinois at number one, Oklahoma at number two, Michigan at three, Penn State at four, Navy at number five. All right. On the pommel horse, we have, who do we have? Okay, no, I got it. We're good. We have Penn State at number one, Ohio State at number two, Nebraska at three, Stanford at four, and Illinois rounds out our top five on the pommel horse. Next up on the still rings, we have Stanford is number one, Michigan is number two, Ohio State is three, Illinois is four, Oklahoma is rounding out our top five on that. Geo, I'm gonna let you take it away for the vault. So, Gio, who's our top five on vault? Let's make it happen.
All right, five. On vault, we got OSU, two Michigan, three Nebraska, four OU, and five Stanford and Illinois are tied. And on P bars, I think we know who's going to be first on this one. We got Stanford on first, second Michigan, third Penn State, fourth Ohio, and fifth Illinois. And last but not least, we got the high bar. So who's going to be first? Let's see it. Oklahoma first, Stanford second, Michigan third, OSU fourth, and Navy and Nebraska fifth. That rounds out our start values on each event. What do you think is, what's your take on
My
these,
take on
Taqiy?
these is that I was actually a little surprised that, because we've been speaking really highly about Nebraska being, one of those teams that are, to really look out for. And I thought we were going to see them in the top five over five events or so. But I don't think I think they're top five on three,
Mhm.
but which is fine. It doesn't say much. Uh, but I just from looking at it, I just assumed that they would be top five on more events. But the one thing that stood out to me, which we've talked about, ad nauseum, is that Stanford has over 3 points on everyone on parallel bars. And this was still without someone like a Brody
Mhm.
Malone or Brandon Briones being the lineup. And I just think that is just
Mhm.
bonkers. Don't you agree? Don't you
Yes.
agree?
It's crazy.
So yeah, what was your takeaway?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Stanford's definitely the one that popped out on their P bars. Something that's not surprising because we're kind of high on this team, but OSU's got top one 5 out of the 6 events, and their start value is very high. They're doing really well. They haven't competed as much as the other teams, so we can't definitively say like what they're looking like. But from these start values, OSU is looking like one of the top teams. Could break through that top 3 spot if they can execute well, and they definitely
Yeah,
have that potential.
for sure, for sure. But you know what? I was surprised but I wasn't. Illinois, five out of top six. So that means that,
Hmm.
like, seriously, like, yeah,
Hmm.
in the previous segments, we talked about them being like in the 5 to 7 range. But at the end of the day, they are a top
Hmm.
three team, and when it comes to start value, you know what I mean? Like they're number one on floor,
Hmm.
number five on pommel horse, four on rings. So it's like they're super strong. And I'm not, I thought they would be top five on high bar for sure. That's the one event that they're not in the top five. So, and I'm if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
they're probably like sixth or seventh. So they're right there. Oklahoma, we've known this always that they are going to out execute you or out hit you. So I wasn't necessarily surprised that they only
Hmm.
show up in the top five on what, four events. It's not only, that's not no small potatoes. It's not, you
Right.
know what I mean? That's not small potatoes, but they are, again, they're a solid team. I love doing this because it was also really
Hmm.
evident that Stanford hasn't had their entire lineup because they are only, they're not all across all six events, which I'm assuming when we get to about 2 weeks before the conference championship, they're going to be top five across all six events. So we're going to do this exercise again in
Hmm.
coming weeks, but yeah, it was really fun to really dive in and see what that looked like.
Yeah, definitely. I think now that we got star value, I think the next thing we got to do is execution. See how that differentiates and which teams can show their execution up is up there in the execution bracket. I think that's the next half of it. But start value is the start of it, and that's why it's in the name.
That's so true. That's so true. But we know start value matters a lot because, when we went, for Team USA at the
Hmm.
Olympics, they did not have their start value. So therefore, it was very hard for them to place. So start value plays a big difference, especially like if your
Definitely.
start value is generally within, about, over across six events, if it's within 2 points, then that's okay. But the moment you're starting to hit 2.5 points, 3 points,
Hmm.
4 points, that means that teams need at least two to three falls, to make up that gap.
Hmm.
So that's the thing that
Yeah.
we probably need to pay attention to. We don't have it up to today, but maybe the overall team start value so we can really see the difference. But we just kind of wanted to pay attention to event,
Hmm.
so that's what we came out with. So yeah, I thought it was a really good exercise, and yeah, it was really good work. All right, so
Nice.
let's get on to it. Let's We're previewing this week's competitions. Let's make it happen.
All right.